Welcome to another season of Otaku Evolution. I'm Mike, Penguin Truth, and today we'll be talking about the worst anime I have ever seen. Yes, right off the bat, first thing in the year we'll be discussing an anime so horrid, so brain-meltingly bad in every category, that it defies explanation. Almost bends reality with its staggering awfulness. And in case you think this is hyperbole, let me just say these two words: Masami Obari. For those of you in the dark about the man's oeuvre, Masami Obari is a man who's been in the anime industry for many years. His directorial debut was episodes 5 and 6 of the original Bubblegum Crisis OVA, and to his credit, they were the best episodes. But from then on, he was involved in, shall we say, lesser works. These included Detonator Organ, Battle Arena Toshinden, Voltage Fighter Gokaiser, Angel Blade, the Fatal Fury anime, and today's delightful selection. In the 90s, if you wanted middling to terrible video games adapted into terrible anime, overly segmented involved mechanical designs, and characters that looked like they suffered from rare bone disorders whose clothes shrank on them, then Obari was your guy. And today, he makes porn. So it's with that caliber we're given Virus Buster Serge, a 12-episode TV series from 1997 based on a Sega Saturn game I can't imagine anybody has played or even knows about. And in my decades as an anime fan, I can scarcely remember an anime that caused me to hemorrhage as intensely as this. How bad is it? I started watching this in December. It's February. This, my friends, this isn't a review. It's an exorcism. It's the year 2097, and in Neo-Hong Kong, people are living your usual techno-organic cyborg Ghost in the Shell future. And for some reason they have an upside-down nerve pyramid. Our main characters are part of a small military force called Stand that fights an evil technovirus that infects people by smashing and shooting it while wearing superpowered hardsuits. And our main protagonist, Serge, is... just wow. Just what was Obari thinking when he designed this guy? Or really any of them? Oh yeah, he wrote, directed, and did the character designs. Look at what they're wearing! I guess you could applaud Obari for being equally ludicrous about both the men and women's outfits, but boy, is this some crazy Final Fantasy-ish afterbirth. And almost everybody has hair that splits into an M shape somewhere on their head. Speaking of shapes and heads, what is with the shape of their heads? Ugh. Just introducing the basic concepts of the show is enough to make me start smelling sounds. The Obari aesthetic is mind-boggling, both for the anatomy and for the fashion. And it is extremely distracting in this series. As much as I'd like to pretend that the story and characters are the only important elements, animation is a visual medium, and this show looks like hot garbage. Anyway, our main character is this midriff-bearing, red leather-wearing chap named Serge, named as such because, much like the soda, he was best left in the 90s. He's a partial amnesiac who only remembers a desire to kill a guy named Raven, the head of Stand, and while the group deals with a virus-infected mecha pilot, he strikes. Seeing that the situation with the virus is getting out of hand, Serge finds and dons a special red hardsuit, variable gear, and jumps into action. Despite never having used one before, Serge activates the suit's hyper mode and does away with the threat. Shortly after, he finds himself at Stand headquarters, having a really odd conversation with Raven.
In order to be free of the virus, we have to win. Take hold of this weapon. It is the symbol of the alliance between you and I. Good. This is your first victory against yourself.
Serge ends up joining Stan and their operatives, giant-breasted and annoying Erica, M. Bison hat-wearing second-in-command Makis, competitive asshole Jorichiro, and super hacker Mirai. They're all basically useless and only have token personalities, but some of them get episodes that focus on them regardless. Like when Erica runs into her ex who ends up being infected with the virus.
Thank you, Erica.
Man, Obari just can't let go of Bubblegum Crisis, can he? But, to be fair, who can? Then there's the leader, Raven. I can't decide whether I want to call him Alan Shazar or Sephiroth. He's got that really generic, enigmatic Bishonen look to him that just makes me want to smash his face in with a spiked club. As you might expect of this guy, he's always droning on to his holographic waifu about fate and crap, being as cryptic and esoteric as an ad for a Calvin Klein scent. This guy is every tortured, shut-in teen boy's poetry journal. Though, come to think of it, most of the dialogue, especially when it comes to the navel-gazing mysteries and cookie-cutter psychological symbolism, is pretty brain-searing. Several episodes have characters diving into the internet and coming across weird psychic traps that bring them face to face with a lot of pretentious twaddle. It's like Evangelion if it didn't have any point to it. So, you know, like the third Rebuild movie.
Everyone's the same. Even when we understand the truth, we refuse to accept it when it's contrary to our own thinking, like ordinary people who change the subject, even though they know what the answer is. They're brainwashed to think that they're still happy while suffering. Is this evolution or regression?
What the fuck does any of that mean? It's like if Grant Morrison teamed up with Chiaki Konaka to adapt Finnegan's Wake into a movie directed by David Lynch! Stop trying to baffle me with bullshit, you self-indulgent vat of whale vomit! This isn't a Kunihiko Ikahara show! This isn't even Rintaro level! Stop pretending you're high-minded, you're a Masami Obari joint! Anyway, Stan eventually runs into a mysterious masked figure who calls himself the Brain Lizard. And the Brain Lizard is somebody who apparently has communicated with the virus as if it were a living autonomous entity. Brain Lizard challenges and attacks our heroes on a couple of occasions, but it turns out he's just one of Serge's friends who was under the influence of the virus, or something like that. I don't know, it's never made clear. Nothing's ever made clear. Well, except that Serge's mysterious past is well known by both Raven and a few others, including probably the shadowy government committee behind Stan that is afraid that Raven has his own goals in mind that conflict with theirs. Raven is much more concerned with his long-lost waifu, and, you know, this is all starting to sound fairly familiar, isn't it? Obari, you just... How do you continue getting work? You're so transparent!
I have come here so I can accept you.
I don't care if you don't.
That's a lie. You know that I am the only one who is able to do this. I can do it for you because I am you.
You accept me?
Yes.
But why?
I accept you.
Am I seeing this wrong? Is there something here I'm missing? Because I assure you, these scenes don't make any more sense in context. Every passing episode leaves me feeling like I'm just emerging from an ether haze. This makes Psycho Diver seem like a sweet, wonderful memory. Anyway, eventually things go to pot for our heroes at Stan when the virus infects Raven's virtual waifu, and she has to be put down by the man himself in a black variable gear. But when he disappears after, the government wants to take control of the situation and send their troops for a good old purge. Well, Stan is pretty lucky because at least they don't have to deal with Sele. Remember their purge of nerve with the UN forces? Our now strangely naked and penisless Serge
This man has no dick.
finds himself in another weird abstract landscape, finally learning the nature of the virus after 10 episodes. I imagine at this point Obari had a rare moment of lucidity and realized, oh right, hadn't gotten to that shit yet, time for an info dump.
It behaves like a particle structure. but it's equipped with characteristics that differ from any particles currently known. When the virus has contact with any substance, it starts to modify the particles.
Serge realizes that the virus isn't going to be stopped for good unless he can pierce the barrier around the strange space station that houses it, called the incubator, with the special function of his variable gear. He was a clone specifically created with the ability to use that function, and everything up to this point was some kind of training for it. However, when he and Erica try to hijack a space shuttle to blast into space and confront the incubator, Raven blocks their way in his black variable gear. It's not exactly clear why Raven suddenly wants to stop Serge from destroying the virus, especially considering what we end up learning about it later, but I'll chalk it up to him not wanting to lose the chance to see his virtual waifu again. Whatever the reason, the only decent action scene in the entire series follows. Serge manages to destroy Raven's variable gear and escapes with Erica on the shuttle, blasting into orbit to confront the source of the virus head-on. He activates his armor's special function, penetrating the barrier, and the incubator reveals its origin and who Serge was originally cloned from.
What did you hear from the incubator?
Same as what you heard.
None of us have heard anything. The only one who has had any contact with the incubator is you.
Huh? I understand.
Wait! Please let him do it! The other side is seeking contact with us all.
Our personalities and spirits are ignored by the incubator. What is exchangeable is the substance itself, the intelligence of the machines. I had no choice but to restrict the power flow of the incubator as much as possible, and to send out information to the humans on Earth.
Now this is actually a good idea. The virus was the manifestation of an alien entity merely looking to communicate with mankind. But the manifestation was dangerous, and when it took control of the incubator, it was impossible to cut the virus off from humanity with which it was constantly trying to contact. But why then did it manifest itself so malevolently? Well, after the virus agrees to shut down the incubator, we discover why. Raven's waifu Donna, or whatever's left of her consciousness, is a total vindictive bitch. But Serge takes her out once and for all, leaving Raven forever alone. Serge meets up with Erica in orbit, and fortunately they won't need to take the hard way down like the Night Sabers in 2040, or the Sailor Senshi in the R movie. The end! I made it through. I actually made it through all that shit. And there was even something worth praising. In an Obari anime. Maybe I had this show all wrong. Maybe this was just a good anime struggling to break free of one man's difficult, belligerent style. After all, I love Tamino's work, and he's not for everyone. Maybe.
He's finally trapped. I've waited so long to see him. It's been worth the wait. He keeps growing stronger. I wonder if he feels the same things I'm feeling. Have you ever really thought about it? That we could ever share the victory with him? Or that he would just bury himself in defeat? All I have is yourself until that time comes. Only you. Only you. It's soon. It's soon.
No, this was just horrible. Having one or two decent ideas does not even begin to compensate for the metric ton of shit it's buried under. Virus Buster Serge is a convoluted mess that never pulls its head out of its ass. It desperately wants to be complex and layered, but really it's just what I'd call a dumb person's idea of smart. And maybe I'm not as intelligent as I'd like to think I am, but trust me when I say this show is rock stupid, and it's so much more so for trying not to be. But actually, I'm kind of glad I watched it. Yes, it was painful, but that's what I'm here for. If I only reviewed good anime, I couldn't give you any real insight into the medium. I was too lenient on myself last season, and that had to change for this one. Well, I need a couple of bottles of Pimm's and a few days of rest after that one. But I'll be back for another episode of Otaku Evolution, against all odds.
Servant of the Annihilator.
Virus.
Without limits.
Virus.
Linking eternity.
Virus.
The key to the end.
Virus.
Virus by Calvin Klein.